Consider two ambitious, hard-working students, Harry and Percy. Both are conscientious, goal-oriented, and motivated by progress. However, when faced with feedback, their reactions diverge sharply. Harry views constructive criticism as an opportunity to learn, whereas Percy perceives it as a personal failure. Percy holds himself to excessively high standards, feels deep shame regarding his mistakes, and is consumed by what others think of him. The fundamental distinction here is that Harry is a healthy striver, while Percy is a perfectionist. Perfectionism isn't a simple yes or no trait. It's a spectrum where we all sit somewhere. The concerning reality is that our societal baseline is creeping upward, with levels of perfectionism steadily rising, particularly among younger generations. On the surface, it is tempting to believe that perfectionism drives productivity and success. We often look at high-achieving individuals and assume their perfectionism is the engine behind their success. However, data tells a different story. There is no consistent relationship between perfectionism and high performance. Why does this occur? Consider a study involving student athletes completing cycling trials. Participants were divided into two groups based on their self-reported levels of perfectionism. Everyone was tasked with beating a personal best time, but researchers manipulated the feedback to ensure everyone failed. The result was telling. The perfectionist's effort significantly decreased in the second trial, whereas the non-perfectionist's effort remained constant. This highlights that perfectionists struggle to cope when things go wrong. They often resort to avoidance behaviors, such as procrastination, to shield themselves from further failure. Furthermore, perfectionism often leads to lower productivity due to the law of diminishing returns. Perfectionists frequently work to the point of exhaustion, sacrificing sleep and health to refine tasks that have already reached a high level of quality. While this might look impressive, it is a fast track to burnout. The perfectionist trap is fueled by a sense of deficit, a belief that one must constantly prove their worth to the world. They set excessively high standards, which leads to inevitable failure. This failure triggers shame, anxiety, and stress, which in turn causes the perfectionist to double down, setting even higher, impossible standards next time. This self-defeating spiral is incredibly difficult to escape, because it stems from the core belief that one is simply not enough. If you find yourself stuck in this cycle, there are actionable ways to shift from a perfectionist mindset to that of a healthy striver. The first step is to set reasonable standards and just get started. Perfectionists often procrastinate because they are terrified of failing to meet their own impossible expectations. By lowering the bar, you make the task manageable. Embrace the concept of good enough. Understand that while there is value in excellence, you must recognize the point of diminishing returns. Continuing to work past that point doesn't increase quality. It often leads to negative returns. Remind yourself that perfect is the enemy of good, and that simply starting the process is the most effective way to overcome the paralysis of perfectionism. Second, learn to surrender and let life happen. A helpful psychological shift involves rejecting the tyranny of the shoulds. We often tell ourselves, I should go to the gym, or I should be further ahead. This language creates a painful divide between our imperfect reality and an idealized, perfect self. Whenever you catch yourself using the word should, try replacing it with could, choose to, or want to. This removes the sense of coercion and helps you accept the ebbs and flows of life, rather than fighting against them. This philosophy mirrors the concept of wabi-sabi, which encourages us to accept beauty in imperfection and live in the moment. Third, reframe your perspective on failure. Failure should not be viewed as a humiliation, but as a humanizing, natural experience. You can think of this as a leveling up process. Level 1 is fearing failure. Level 2 is realizing failure is normal. Level 3 is seeing failure as a learning opportunity. Level 4 is actively viewing failure as a success because it provides you with essential data. Ask yourself where you currently stand on this spectrum and what it would take to reach the next level. Fourth, regularly step outside your comfort zone. Perfectionists are often risk-averse because they fear criticism. By intentionally putting yourself in situations where there is a high risk of being wrong or failing, you desensitize yourself to that fear. Start small. but be consistent. The goal is to prove to yourself that the world does not end when things go imperfectly. Finally, change how you set goals. Instead of rigid, specific, high-stakes goals, experiment with open or nice goals, near-term, input-based, controllable, and energizing. Rather than focusing on an outcome that you cannot fully control, focus on what you can do today. By shifting your focus from the external result to the process, you strip away the pressure that fuels perfectionism. Remember, true fulfillment comes not from achieving a static, flawless outcome, but from maintaining a focus on things that are meaningful and enduring. Success is not a destination that cures the human experience. It is a journey that requires resilience, honesty, and the courage to be imperfect. Have a nice day!